Nobody in the courtroom expected anything unusual that morning. It was supposed to be a routine hearing in a routine case. People whispered, shuffled papers, checked their watches. But the moment the doors opened, silence crashed over the room like a wave. Every head turned. The judge's eyes widened. His hand froze midair. The bailiff straightened. Even the lawyers who usually talked endlessly lost their words. Because the woman who entered wasn't just another witness, another lawyer, or another stranger. She was someone from a past buried under years of regret, sacrifice, and honor. And the moment she stepped inside, the judge, the strict, unshakable, unbreakable Judge Haroun, did something nobody had ever seen him do before. He stood up. But before anyone understood why, her story had already begun long before this day. Alishba Khan had once been the pride of the military, a brilliant officer known for her discipline, courage, and sharp instincts. Her comrades called her Eagle, not only because her eyes missed nothing, but because she flew through every challenge as if built for the sky. But 3 years ago, after a covert rescue operation went terribly wrong, she suddenly left the force. No official reason, no farewell ceremony, no explanations. She simply disappeared, leaving behind rumors, unanswered questions, and a long shadow over her reputation. Some said she broke under pressure. Some whispered she betrayed the mission. Others believed she was hiding something. In reality, she carried a burden far heavier than anyone could imagine, a tragic mistake she blamed herself for, even though the truth was far more complicated. And now, after years of silence, her name had resurfaced, in a case that threatened to destroy everything she once stood for. Judge Haroun was known for being firm, fair, and impossible to intimidate. Yet this case had shaken even him. A decorated young soldier named Aram was accused of harming civilians during an off-duty incident. The evidence was messy, witnesses were conflicted, and politics were quietly twisting the case from behind the curtain. The media wanted a villain. The military wanted silence. The public wanted justice. Aram claimed he was innocent, insisting someone else was responsible. But the court lacked one crucial witness, someone who had been there, someone who disappeared before giving a statement. Someone who saw what truly happened, Captain Alishba Khan. She never came forward. Until today. The judge issued a final call. If she didn't appear, Aram would likely face a punishment he didn't deserve. And deep inside, Alishba knew she couldn't hide anymore. Not when someone was about to pay the price for a truth only she carried. The courtroom doors swung open. Alishba stepped in, wearing a simple sky blue shirt, her hair tied neatly, her posture calm but carrying storms behind the eyes. She looked different, older, quieter, but stronger in a way pain often shapes people. People whispered her name in disbelief. Lawyers exchanged shocked glances. Even the young soldier Aram, sitting with his trembling hands, lifted his head with hope he had not felt in months. But the biggest shock was Judge Haroun. Years ago, he had been her mentor in military legal drills, the man who taught her how truth stands stronger than fear. And now, seeing her after so long, he stood up, out of respect, out of shock, and out of a long-buried guilt only he understood. Alishba paused. Her eyes met his. A moment, heavy with unsaid memories, passed between them. Then she walked forward with the quiet confidence of someone who has nothing left to lose and everything left to set right. As she took the witness stand, the weight of the past pressed on her chest. The prosecutor tried to break her. Asked why she disappeared. Accused her of protecting someone. Suggested she was hiding guilt. Every question came like a hammer, but she didn't flinch. Then came the question she had dreaded for years, Captain Alishba, why did you leave the mission that night? Silence filled the room. Her breath caught. The memory flashed, the chaos, the gunfire, the collapsing wall, Aram pushing civilians to safety, and her commanding officer, Colonel Farid, ordering a retreat too early. It wasn't Aram who made the fatal mistake. It wasn't even her. It was Farid who later used his power to bury the truth. She had left the force not because she failed, but because speaking the truth back then would have destroyed her entire unit and endangered her teammates' families. She chose silence, choosing to take the blame upon herself. And now, she chose courage. Alishba's voice finally broke through the tension. She told the court everything, how Aram risked his life for civilians, how evidence was twisted, how the real culprit escaped consequences due to rank and influence. She presented recordings she had kept hidden. She shared her statement with details only a soldier present on the scene could know. People gasped. Lawyers panicked. The courtroom became a battlefield of truth and lies clashing head-on. Judge Haroon listened, not as a superior, but as someone who once failed to support her when she needed him most. He swallowed guilt with every word she spoke. He had doubted her back then, and now, seeing her stand alone, unshaken, he realized the depth of her strength. When she finished, the room went dead silent. Aram's eyes filled with tears. Reporters scribbled chaotically. Even the prosecutor lowered his gaze, knowing the case had just transformed completely. Judge Haroon leaned forward, his voice firm yet emotional in a way nobody had ever heard. He declared Aram innocent, citing Alishba's testimony and new evidence. But he didn't stop there. He demanded a full inquiry into the cover-up, naming those responsible. The courtroom erupted. Justice, long delayed, had finally awakened. As people surrounded Alishba with gratitude and respect, she stepped back, overwhelmed. For the first time in years, she felt free. Not as a soldier who failed, but as a soldier who fought a different battle, the battle of truth. Judge Haroon walked down from his seat, something judges rarely do. He approached her and said softly, "You should never have stood alone." She replied with a tired but genuine smile, "I didn't. I just had to wait for the world to listen." As she walked out of the courtroom, people stood for her, not because of her past rank, but because of her courage. And Aram, the soldier she saved, saluted her with trembling respect. The truth had cost her years of silence, but it gave her back her honor. And sometimes, that is the greatest victory a soldier can win.